And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the DoDcast Postgame. I'm your host, co-editor Ricky Keeler. The Nationals lose the second game of this three-game series 5-3 to the New York Mets this afternoon, and just another rough day for the Nats bullpen. And we'll get into that, and I have a lot of thoughts on it, and we'll talk about those as well. The Nats offense at least pushed Zach Wheeler out of the game by the fifth inning, but had nothing to show for it because the Mets bullpen did an excellent job, and that's what really could close the gap in this division. Their bullpen is better than yours, and it's not even close. But we'll talk a lot about it. We'll talk about Steven Strasburg. We'll talk about Adam Eaton and that injury. Maybe Dusty will give some more comments on the injury today. It was placed in the DL this morning. Rafael Bautista's called up. I think that's the right decision. He's earned it and has had a pretty good stretch in Syracuse, so maybe he'll get some playing time. And we'll also talk about the Jayson Werth play. I know you guys had a lot of thoughts about that, so feel free to share those with me in the chat room here on the YouTube page. You can also tweet me on Twitter at Rickinator555 or tweet the site on Twitter at District on Deck. Let's go to the line score. Mets get 5 runs, 8 hits, 1 error today. The Nationals 3 runs on 7 hits, no errors. The lone error coming from Jose Reyes on the Mets side. Hansel Robles gets the win, and he was excellent in this game. 4 strikeouts, 1 walk, an inning and 2/3. He's 4-0 for the Mets out of the pen. So he's done a lot of work for the Mets this year in relief. He's thrown a lot of innings. He's kind of got that rubber arm, but Terry Collins keeps going to him, and he's done a nice job. So he gets the win. Steven Strasburg, a tough luck loss today. 7 innings, 3 runs, 6 hits, only 2 strikeouts. You rarely see that from Strasburg, but gets a tough luck loss, his first of the year. And Jeurys Familia, a much better 9th inning than yesterday. 1-2-3 to get his first save of the season. Of course, he missed the first 15 games due to that domestic violence suspension. But a lot to dive into. And let's start with really the Nationals offense. Let's start with the positives first off. Ryan Zimmerman just continues to rake. 3 for 4, all 3 RBIs today. Crushes a solo shot off Addison Reed in the 8th, 470 feet. I mean, that ball is still going. Landed right where the 7 line was out in left field. Great group of fans, by the way, the 7 line. He has the RBI single in the first inning, got everything started, and then he picks up an infield hit in the 5th to get the Nats the second run. There's nothing Ryan Zimmerman can't do right now. He's got a home run in 6 of his last 7 games, 7 of his last 10. He's now second on the all-time franchise list in home runs, passing Andre Dawson. And another stat, I think Nats PR had this. This is the most home runs Zimmerman has hit in a month since September of 2013. And there's one more game tomorrow where Zimmerman could break that record. And we talked about this a little last night. It's, I think, between him and Eric Thames for player of the month. I mean, you could throw Bryce Harper in there, and I wouldn't have a problem with it. But Ryan Zimmerman has a legitimate shot at being April Player of the Month in the National League. I don't think anybody would have thought that going in. So it's been amazing to watch him hit. Michael Taylor got to play today. Was kind of surprised to see him hit second in the order, but let's throw out the other alternatives here. Anthony Rendon hasn't hit. Jayson Werth has not hit since the first week of the season. So who else is Dusty going to put second? I mean, Daniel Murphy's not going to hit second. I mean, you could do that, but Murphy hasn't really hit second in a while. Maybe he'd change his approach at the plate a little bit. And I'm all for Trey Turner stealing some bases. He stole one today. First time he's done that since coming off the DL. I think putting Trey Turner lead off, he's going to steal more. So maybe you do hit and run situations with Taylor since he's an aggressive hitter. I think that's an option you throw out there. I just don't think you can stick Michael Taylor in the bottom of the order and hope it sticks. He's got to hit in the top. You need sort of that 2 speed guys. And if Taylor struggles, I think Bautista's a perfect guy to put at the top. I want to see hit and run. I want to see speed. Part of what the Nationals did last year is they would outrun opponents, and when they weren't hitting home runs, they were scoring runs that way. I'm not seeing that this year. Maybe, and it's a great thing they're hitting homers. Don't discount me on that at all. I want to see more action. I want to see more aggressiveness. And I feel like it's something kind of been lacking this year to a degree. But Taylor has a decent day, picks up 3 hits and 4 at-bats. He did strike out against Familia to end the game, but that's to be expected. Sad but true. But Dusty Baker said it before the game. This is Taylor's last shot. He's got to deliver. So maybe having that pressure on him, and Ron's talked about it, all the stuff that Taylor's gone through the last month, it takes a while to get over those things. So maybe this is the stretch where you see Taylor get it going and start to deliver for this team. Otherwise, he might be finding another team. Just throwing that out there. Again, the Nats had a good approach against Wheeler today. Wheeler threw a total of 96 pitches in this game, 54 strikes, 4 2/3, 1 earned run, walked 4, struck out 4, 14 of 22 first pitch strikes, hits at men in scoring position. And that was really their problem last night late in the game. 2 for 11 with men in scoring position today. They left 8 on base. You can't do that if you want to win. And you can't have a game where only 3 guys on the team get a hit, and Zimmerman with 3 hits, Taylor 3 hits, and Werth the double in the 8th, and expect to win. It's just not happening that way. The other negative, I think, well, I mentioned Anthony Rendon as a negative. I mean, the fact of the matter is he's 1 game away from finishing a month with 2 extra base hits. That's not going to get it done. I mean, I know Rendon is usually a slow starter. I know he had the injury to begin the season, but 2 extra base hits, I mean, come on. I mean, you got to get a little better than that. And I think in these 2 games, you're seeing the Mets have a good approach against Bryce Harper. They threw him nothing but off-speed stuff, and Harper just chases and chases and chases. I think, and I know Ron said the Masson crew discussed this. I watch on SNY, so forgive me if I say something that Bob and FP might have said. I think he presses against the Mets. I do. You look at the numbers he has against Harvey, against DeGrom. DeGrom's numbers are actually okay. But Syndergaard, Blevins, Edgin, Harper couldn't get the big hits today. Grounded with double play against Wheeler. He struck out 6 times in this series. He presses. He presses against a rival because he wants to show that he's better than these guys. He respects DeGrom, respects Syndergaard, respects Harvey. He wants to be better. And I think he tries a little too much as opposed to playing the Brewers or the Reds or the Phillies. Throw a division team in there. You just need Harper to be relaxed. Have bad games. These are probably his only 2 bad games of the entire month. It's going to happen. So I'm not trying to pile on Bryce Harper here by any means. But he did leave 6 on base today. I mean, most of the opportunities at men's scoring position came with Bryce Harper at the plate. Most days, you're going to want that because that's the guy you want at the plate in those situations. Today just wasn't his day, and that's going to happen. Of course, the big play of the game, luckily it didn't cost the Nationals the game, but in the 4th inning, Jayson Werth takes second after the Lobatone strikeout, and then all the craziness happens. Angel Hernandez points at his Drupal Cabrera. You think there's obstruction, and then Werth is called out at third base. Not the right call. I don't think Hernandez played that right. But again, Hernandez, you've seen this month 2 of the worst umpires in baseball, one being C.B. Buckner and one being Angel Hernandez. I mean, Werth's got to be a third there. You got a man on third and 1 out. Yes, Strasburg is up, but you got Trey Turner after Strasburg. You have a chance to drive in a run. Now, maybe the Nats don't drive in a run, but you lose out an opportunity to at least score another run on the board. So not a lot has gone right for the Nationals offensively last couple of days outside of Zimmerman. Wieters had a home run yesterday, but the Nats were relying a little bit too much on that home run, which is good. I mean, you hit home runs, it's great. You see the Mets do that all the time. But some days it's not going to work for you. On the Mets side of things, Michael Conforto continues to rake against the Nationals. 9 for 19, 4 home runs against Washington this year. Hits another one today off Enny Romero, and he never hits home runs against lefties. The Mets never play him against lefties. And Conforto delivers. I mean, with Cespedes out and with Duda out, Conforto's going to play. But you look at for the Mets side, Conforto's got to play every day. This kid is too good. They have to play him. I mean, he's practically saved their season in a way by the way he's been playing. He hits a 2-run homer off Strasburg in the 5th, which ends up being not the difference, but got the Mets ahead 3-1. They never looked back from there. 3 hits, I said today. He picked up it was 2 base hits and a home run, 2 home runs and a base hit. TJ Rivera's had a good series for the Mets, a couple hits. And the bottom of the order has killed the Nats this week. They've shut down Jay Bruce. They've shut down Neil Walker. They've shut down Granderson. But Jose Reyes, 2 hits and a homer. TJ Rivera, 2 hits. Darno tacks on another RBI, his 6th of the series. You've got to get the bottom of the lineup out. It's one thing if you get beaten by Bruce or beaten by Walker or Cabrera, because those are their go-to guys. You can't get beaten by Reyes and TJ Rivera every game. You're not going to win that way. All in all, not a bad game by Strasburg, though, at all on the mound. He goes 7 innings, 3 runs, 6 hits, gives up the 2-run shot to Conforto, but he throws 94 pitches, a good pitch count, 63 strikes. Didn't strike out a lot, but remember, you go back to opening day against the Marlins, he didn't have many strikeouts, but he got the ground ball outs, which were important. And today he had, I believe it was 9 ground ball outs. So a good number on the ground ball out department. And that's what's going to make him successful. He's looked pretty good the first month pitching from the stretch. Remember, this is from 8 days rest because he was on paternity leave. So he's looked pretty good in these games. So 1 month in, Scherzer looks good. Strasburg looks good. Scherzer had 1 bad game last night. Roark has been up and down. Gio's been good. And Joe Ross, you'll find out more about, I think, tomorrow afternoon. We'll get into that start later on. But another thing I want to talk about is the bullpen. And I gave my thoughts. Ron tweeted the game, but I chimed in because I got home about an hour ago. I wanted to chime in myself because I'm just like you guys. I am frustrated by this bullpen. The fact of the matter is, Dusty's going to make these starters go 115 pitches because nobody in this bullpen can have a clean inning. And part of it's on Dusty. Just look at Enny Romero, for example. He has thrown 5 times in the last week. He has thrown a total, when you think about it, of 10-plus pitches in 7 straight games. Last time he threw fewer than 10 pitches in an outing, you have to go back to April 12th. 5 times in the last 7 days. They are going to wear him out. And to give him credit, he was throwing 100 miles an hour. He's done it the last couple of days, and Dusty likes to use him against these Met hitters for some reason. But he's got to watch how much he uses Romero. But here's the problem. Joe Blanton hasn't earned any trust. Blake Trinan hasn't earned any trust. Coda Glover is out. Jacob Turner was used last night. And even he gave up a run, and it could have been a lot more. Cabrera not ground to a double play. Sean Kelly gives up a home run in the 9th inning to Reyes in a non-save situation, but Sean Kelly hasn't had a save chance since last week. This bullpen is a train wreck. It's not going to, I mean, I try to be optimistic. I try to tell you what's going to get better, but is it really going to get better? Mike Rizzo, at some point, I'm not saying let's do it now, he's got to look at this pen and make changes. Because you've got, I talked about it last night, you've got guys in the minor leagues and AAA that are producing. Let them pitch. They've got the confidence. None of these guys have confidence right now. Because everybody feeds off each other. And I mentioned this in an article, I think I did it last week. You got Bland only pitching in games that are decided. Oliver Perez and Matt Albers really are your high leverage guys right now. Think about that. Think about that sentence for a second. Oliver Perez, who didn't pitch really for most of the first week of the year, and Matt Albers, who didn't make the team coming out of camp, are the 2 guys that you have in high leverage that you might have a little bit of faith in. Might have a little bit of faith in right now. When Ron and I follow these games. We tweet them with you. And we see what all of you write on Twitter. You all cringe when the bullpen comes in, and I don't blame you. There's no reason to blame you. It's just a mess right now. Ron chimed in. It doesn't sound like nothing new on Adam Eaton today. He had the MRI, but nothing new on that account. So we'll just keep waiting. He is on the disabled list. I don't think he's going to be back for a while. And I think at some point when you watch this team, they've got to fix this. They've got to, because these are the things that cost you later in the season when you lose games like these. And Ron tweeted that earlier. Byron Kerr said about Dusty's comments on the Angel Hernandez Werth call, gave obstruction sign, and he gave me some jive explanation that did not make sense to me. There was Dusty's thoughts on that. I like Dusty's comments about the lineup earlier today. He was talking. I think it was Eddie Matz, I think at ESPN, who asked this about Bryce or Trey Turner in center field. He goes, "No, leave my team alone." That Dusty can be really creative with lineup combinations, but We're doing a series on Dusty Baker's top 5 quotes of the month. That might make the top 5 because that's vintage Dusty Baker. You love seeing that. I mean, he's a fun guy. He's got a great personality, and he's frustrated. This team is frustrated. They just came off a great road trip, and all the ground that they gained on the Mets, they're starting to lose it. I'm not saying they're going to lose the division. I'm not saying that to panic, but this was a series where you could have buried the Mets and not buried them, but maybe gave them a long shot at the division. 10.5 back after a month is not easy to come back from. At the very least, you take 2 out of 3, you're up 8.5. Now you're looking at staring at 4.5 tomorrow, and now the sweep you had is basically erased. And you're starting back from square one. Maybe you have a day off Monday, so that could even be 4 by Monday in terms of where the Mets are, and that's your fierce rival in the division. So a lot has changed. I think also it's Eaton's termination will be tomorrow, so we'll have more on Adam Eaton tomorrow. Ron will have the post-game show for that, so we should have some fun. But again, I'll throw this out there. This Met bullpen is, I want to throw a number out here, 5 times better than your bullpen. Because Robles Terry goes to him a lot and gets it done. Their lefties, Jerry Blevins and Josh Edgin, have shut down Harper and Murphy pretty much. You got Reed, probably is the only question mark right now. He was great last year. Reed has looked terrible in the 2 games. He keeps giving up moonshots to Zimmerman. I don't know why Collins does that, but it's a good thing for the Nationals that he does. And Familia is still Familia. Even with Familia's struggles, he's better than what the Nationals have a closer right now. And those are the things that can change it, because the rotations are pretty much even when everybody's healthy. The Nats have the edge in the lineup probably with Cespedes out, but the Mets have the drastic edge in the bullpen. You just tell it like it is. And those are the kind of bullpens can decide games, people. It's that simple. I don't know where Dusty's going to go. I think Dusty has tried a lot of different things, and we talked about it last night. People who mentioned where's the roles, nobody's earned a role. Nobody. They're all at square one, pretty much. And with Solis out with the nerve inflammation, with Glover out, they're losing quality relievers like crazy. Even if they didn't have a role, at least they were productive. So this bullpen has a lot of soul searching to do. And hopefully it gets better, but it's tough to have the confidence that it will. So let's take a look at the minor leagues today. No action right now, so all the games will be later on today. But it'll be interesting to watch some of these. Again, you can watch MILB.TV for all 4 of these games. I might tune into a game or 2 later tonight. Syracuse at 8-11 is going to take on Norfolk, who's 8-13. Gabriel Noah is supposed to start for Norfolk. No starter listed for Syracuse yet as of right now. AA Harrisburg is in action at 6 o'clock tonight. John Sims gets the start. Sims 1-1 with a 2.87 ERA, taking on the Altoona Curve. And you look at John Sims's numbers, he's had some good performances lately. Last time out, 7 strikeouts, 1 run over 5 innings, giving up 5 runs in his first 3 starts. So Sims is that guy you kind of keep a close eye on. At 6:05, Potomac at 11-9 takes on Salem, who is at 13-8. Workin Estevez gets the start for the Peanuts tonight. Estevez is pitching the 6th inning his last couple of starts. Last time out, 2 runs on 8 hits and 5 2/3 against Lynchburg. And Hagerstown, who's had a rough series so far in Lexington, they give the ball to Tyler Watson, excuse me. Thinking Yankees, Tyler Austin. Tyler Watson gets to start at 6:30 against Lexington. Hagerstown at 13-9. Tyler Watson, 19-year-old left-hander, 7 strikeouts last time out. He struck out 6 or more in 4 straight games. You look at his pitch count at least early on. He's throwing about 85, 90 pitches. But Watson's one of those names that down in the minor leagues you want to keep an eye on. He's not where Eric Fetty is. He's not where Austin Voth is, who's had a rough go at the start of the year. He's not where A.J. Cole is. Cole's been bad to start the year. But Watson's a guy to keep a close eye on. I think he's one of those guys at the lower levels of the minor leagues with a lot of talent. And listening to some of his games, I might tune into that game because I want to see Watson's form a little bit. He's got a good strikeout potential. I think that's one of the quality signs you want in a young starting pitcher. Remember, the kid's only 19. And that's impressive in itself. So those are the action tonight in the minor leagues. We're not going to give you a score update tonight, but maybe if something happens tomorrow, Ron will tell you about it. Or I'll tell Ron about it, and he'll tell you about it. Otherwise, nothing going on in the division right now today, at least right now. Other finals were in the American League, and right now Boston's playing Chicago on FS1. It's 1-0 Red Sox in the third, so I'm sure Ron is happy. Pirates Marlins later tonight at 7 o'clock. Ivan Nova against Dan Straley. Straley struck out 14 against San Diego his last time out, so that's a good start. Marlins need it. They got shelled last night. And the Phillies are taking on the Dodgers. That game at 9 o'clock. Zach Eflin gets the ball for the Phillies, and he'll take on Brandon McCarthy, who looks to start 4-0 this year for the Dodgers. They could use Dodgers have needed every one of those wins from McCarthy. And the Braves are in Milwaukee tonight, 7:10 Eastern. Jaime Garcia gets the ball against Jimmy Nelson. So those are your three games in the division. Up on the site right now, we got a couple of articles. Ron wrote about Adam Eaton going on the DL, and you had Drew Douglas write about the impact of Eaton's injury and some outfield options. He mentioned Wilmer Difo as a center field option. I've liked the way Difo's hit the ball. And I think if Taylor struggles, I wouldn't be opposed to Difo getting a shot. I mean, he's proved me wrong. I thought Difo had to go to the minors to play every day, but even off the bench, you saw it in the last series against Colorado. When he played, he was productive. So I wouldn't be opposed to Difo playing there either. I'm not, though, on the Andrew Stevenson, definitely not in the Victor Robles camp. He's not ready yet, not even close. So I don't want to hear Victor Robles as a center field option. He's not quite there yet. We'll have more on Eaton tomorrow. We'll have Player of the Week. Drew does our Player of the Week every week, so he'll have his choice tomorrow as well. You'll hear from Ron Juckett tomorrow. He'll tweet with you and do the post game. I'll be back on Tuesday. Well, I don't know about Tuesday, but I'll be back during the Diamondback series when the Nats will start that on Tuesday. They're off on Monday. And then we'll start May. So 1 month in. Offense is good. Starting pitching is good. Bullpen, And that is being lately. Let's take a look first at tomorrow's pitching matchup. 1:35 Eastern. You catch the game on MASN 2, WUSA 9. MLB Network has it if you're out of the market. At 106.7 The Fan with Charlie and Dave on the radio. Noah Syndergaard gets the ball for the Mets. 1-1 with a 1.73 ERA against Joe Ross, who's 1-0 with a 6.17. The key here is watching Syndergaard. He's coming off the bicep tendonitis. He is going to pitch in this game, but you want to watch those first couple innings, see if Syndergaard is truly Noah Syndergaard. If he is, you're in trouble. With that high velocity on his fastball, the nasty slider that he throws, it's tough to beat that. But he's had a lot of little injuries this year. So who knows what Syndergaard will be. But the Nationals have to be careful. Not the guy you want to face after you lost the first 2 games of the series. And that puts a lot of pressure on Joe Ross, who did not look good against Colorado, did not get out of the 5th inning. A lot of allowed outs in that game. That was bad weather. So now we'll find out. Was the lack of velocity, the lack of command, because of the weather? If it is, then Joe Ross will go out there and pitch pretty well. If not, then you've got a problem. Because it's a guy who has battled numerous injuries and has not thrown many innings in his career. Last year, only 105 at the major league level. Last year against the Mets, Ross, a 6 ERA, gave up 4 runs, 10 hits, there were 6, struck out 7. He did get a win in that game. So he has some experience against the Mets, but not that much. If you look at the numbers that the Mets have against Ross, you have Granderson 3 for 10 with an RBI. Neil Walker is 2 for 5 with a home run. Lucas Duda has 2 homers, but again, he's in the DL. So not much for the Mets against Ross. As for the Nats against Syndergaard, first I want to see Trey Turner run on Noah Syndergaard. That would be great. Considering, Rene Rivera will be behind the plate, not Travis d'Arnaud. Daniel Murphy, 3 for 12 with 2 doubles and 2 RBIs. Bryce Harper, 5 for 18 with 2 RBIs. The only one with a home run is Anthony Rendon, 6 for 19. Ryan Zimmerman, 2 for 11 with 5 strikeouts, but with his numbers, throw everything out the window the way he's hitting right now. But I think, again, with Eaton out of the lineup, you need Rendon and Werth to step up. Somebody's going to have to step up with Eaton out. And yes, you want to put pressure on Taylor. I'm all for that. But to me, Michael Taylor goes to the bottom of the pack in terms of pressure. To me, it's on Rendon and it's on Werth. So it's not Ryan Zimmerman, Bryce Harper, and Daniel Murphy and Trey Turner scoring runs every day. It's great that they're doing that, but you need this lineup to start getting other guys going. So Robbie with you tomorrow. Thanks again for everybody for tuning in. Mets get the win 5-3, and the Nationals will hope to avoid being swept for the first time this year tomorrow afternoon. So until then, for Ron Juckett and for our District on Deck team, I'm Ricky Keeler saying hope you have a great afternoon, and we'll see you back here late tomorrow afternoon for the final game of this Nationals-Mets series.